Hey YouTube, this is Zach with Achilles Financial, and we are looking at a week in review. We finished the week 77% return on investment, a $1,000 gain. Again, this is a small account for Robinhood investing. That's what we're looking at. I just want to do a quick highlight. I've been going through a lot of the plays this week. I want to showcase some of the plays that I made today just to finalize, as well as what I'm looking for next week. So a number of the plays that I will be discussing today are what we were looking for yesterday. So quick highlight, I do want to make a point that from the Zillow play that I was holding yesterday, I did sell that this morning. So if you were not paying attention to the market today, there was a big pop up in after hours or overnight trading. I did make that sell today, or rather this morning. I didn't catch it at the very beginning just because I set a really high limit price in the hopes that some of the excitement that the market was up so high would catch someone's eye. So what ended up happening is I think it ended up selling at, you can see I've got a number of trades, 950. So I had it set at, I think it was right at 380. And the reason that I highlight that, so I only netted about $50 there, but because there was a lot of volume. And again, sometimes if you place a limit out there, as soon as the market opens, someone will snap it up just because they get caught in a trap, really is what it is. So that's why I wasn't able to cash out more. And they continued to go down. So what ended up happening today is we had a long day. And so normally what I look for is the move that happens by 11 a.m. Eastern time is generally speaking what we'll see as the continuation for the broader day. And at this point is about the time that I sold. And then what ended up happening is when it bought, or when it got down at 2 o'clock and they were still down, I ended up buying the exact same call I've been talking about, but instead of July 17th, because I didn't want to get knocked for day trading, I ended up doing a Zillow $65 call for 7.2 and I got those for 4 buys. I do want to highlight, it does say that I am down 13% on this trade right now, but again, options trading closes at the market close, and you can see that in after hours we're up another 78 cents. I say that with excitement, but we really don't know what's going to be happening over the weekend in terms of what may occur for the marketplace, the riots, the environment that we currently live in. However, I am bullish, and the reason for that is because we are going to continue watching SPY, and we did see a buy going into the weekend. Generally speaking, if there's negativity or bearishness going into a weekend, a lot of people don't like to hold stocks over 2 days of no trading because those are 2 days where a lot could happen, and who knows what bad news could continue to come out. The fact that we saw a buy to end the day after a low point means that we are optimistic. One of the things that I was worried about, you can see that I have my 3 put expirations. I ended up, again, if you recall, 2 days ago when I made the video describing this trade, I essentially bet $100, and if I lost, I'd lose $100. If I won, I'd net, it was like $18. So it doesn't sound like great odds, but I was positive that it would bounce off the 300 mark, and it did yesterday. I think it got all the way down to, yeah, it says 300 right here, but it actually hit 300 and then bounced. Today it did the first time when it hit 301, it actually got down a little bit lower than that. However, it broke through that 300 resistance point, and that worried me. And I saw these, they lit up, and I was like, we are in trouble. But it ended up bouncing back out, and we had a nice run up to end the day. So what did I do? So I also sold my Bank of America calls that you saw me take yesterday. The reason for that is because I lost about $20 there, and I said instead of buying the calls, Bank of America is going to go ex-dividend later this month, early next month. I need to check in on that, on when the actual ex-dividend date is expected to be, so I will get that for you. Bought another 25 shares here, and the reason that I am buying shares of Bank of America on this account, and the reason that I want to highlight this, is because oftentimes whenever I am buying stock, it is either for dividend appreciation or because I really like the stock. In my longer term portfolio, I do have a larger share of Bank of America, but I want to highlight this portfolio. I want this to be an example and I had a really good week, and this was probably one of my better actually no, it is the best week in terms of overall options trading probably ever for an overall portfolio. That being said, I did not want to go and immediately blow this cash somewhere else. So to mitigate against me having the temptation to do that, I put it into Bank of America stock. I do plan on getting up to 100 shares here, and all I'm going to be doing is holding or selling covered calls. So actually, let me see. So we aren't really changed in after hours trading for them. I'd like to build up into 100 shares and then just start doing covered calls. So if we're looking at June 19th, I could do, I think they're probably going to be higher than $25, but I could do $26, and we'll see what the market is. But I'd like to get 50 more shares, so I need to build up in this account to have that type of cash on hand. But I'd like to get to the point where I can just do covered calls, and if it ends up eventually selling and someone takes my shares, that's fine. I don't mind cashing out on covered calls. So you may be asking, what is this big spike right here at the end of the day? This is not something to be super excited about or be fearful over of how I gained and immediately lost a high of a 27% return. That is from this call right here. I don't know why it spiked to this point. That's normally just something breaking on the options chain. Someone bought something that they shouldn't have, and that's why that is up so high. So I don't actually think that that is the case for them. And the reason that that can happen on a stock like Zillow is because they don't have as much volume that you would normally see. So for example, if we look at a 65, you've only got a volume of around 350, where when we're looking at Bank of America volume, it's just a lot higher. So even for stuff way out of the money, and this is today, and they've got 419. And again, I want to highlight that that's expiring today is why they're so low, where next week we've got a volume of 2100. So a smaller change can make moves on those stocks. So that was the Bank of America play. You can also see that I did have on SPY, I had those 2 puts expire. I've also I had something else expire today, Johnson & Johnson. So they had news earlier this week, and I ended up getting baited in on this right here. They were rocketing up, and so I bought a Johnson & Johnson 155 call, and when they stutter stepped, so I got in right here, when they stutter stepped here, I actually sold a put, you can see here. So I sold, or not a put, I sold a call for higher out of the money, and this was to limit my losses here. So I ended up netting or losing $12 on this trade, but that is just a strategy that you can use if you think that you're going to lose on the trade, is, hey, how can I mitigate this and sell a contract out of the money to just kind of recoup some of that. A little bit closer to the money, and you still think that there may be some upside, just not that much upside, you can end up catching yourself. So what is the plan for next week? You can see that I've still got a nice little cash stockpile similar to what we've got. I do have some options here, so I've got some cash tied up in here, particularly that Zillow call, and then I've still got my Bank of America shares that I will be holding for at least the near future. We'll see what happens or changes there. The Sono call, I am going to continue to keep. This has been pretty volatile. I'm down a lot on this. I say a lot, it's $30, but that is pretty high. I do think that they are just going to continue to be pretty volatile, as you can see here. I've got a lot of time on this, and I'd like to just see Sonos continue to make some spikes like this, and then I can probably sell that for a profit. So no rush on that one. And then we're all familiar with the dud that is Billy. I want you to highlight, I did a put, and this was one of my China plays. Since that China play, they've gone up 17%. So that's still insane to me. What I'm looking at next week is I do want to see a rebound occur. I am looking to see how can I improve this portfolio position from not just the stock perspective in this case, but also options. The stocks I'm going to be looking at is I'm going to continue keeping a watch on Zillow, but the other big mover that started to recover today, and I want to watch it over the weekend, is going to be NVIDIA. I really liked what we did with the NVIDIA play last week. We've had 2 successful NVIDIA plays, or rather 3 in a row now, which is not something that tends to happen with a lot of my trades. But I mean, you can see I was trying to snag some today, but we've got some credit spreads in here. We've got 2 spreads and we've got 2 call options that have done really well. So if we can find something in there that we really like, the issue is they are so expensive. So this is just a 1-week move for June 19th. And my $500 balance, I'd have to be looking at a 370 call option just to be able to touch it, which again, we now know is not out of the realm of possibility, but it just depends on what are they going to be moving, what are they going to be doing. So going to be watching NVIDIA there as well. A lot of moves. One last thing that I want to highlight is just if we go back to my speculative buys list, some stocks that I would encourage you to be looking at is what we see here on the screen. Aside from Vroom, I don't like them right now, but they were an IPO, so they were on my speculative buy. I will go ahead and get rid of them off this list. But I like Plug right now. The reason for that is because they've been bouncing around a lot over the course of the past 2 weeks. This is one stock that I would highlight is one of those penny stocks. I don't know if I would invest in it long term at this point, and there's a million different reasons for that. However, I do like some of the options because they're relatively inexpensive and they expire this week. So now this is my first time looking at their option chain in a while. They've added a lot more, so that just goes to show you some of the volume they're commanding. But this is, I like this play right here where we can see a 16 cent or a $16 play that may turn into something like a $20 play if they continue upward momentum. So I like that. One of the other things that I would look at is, again, we've still got our FTAI. I wanted to get in on more of their shares earlier when they hit under $12. However, I was sticking with the Bank of America just because they have a lot more volume. But this is one to watch. I do like the FTAI play. I think that they're worth more than $12. I don't think that they're worth $19, but I'd like to see them back at the $14 mark that we saw them crest last week. I just don't know if now's the time to get in. They're another one that has a lot or very low volume, so it can be difficult to get out of their trades. And as you can see, just not a lot of, look, volume 2. So there's just a lot of movement for these stocks. And I don't know if it's worthwhile at this point in time, but I may be looking at July for, even these have spiked up since their recent jump up. So, but be watching them, keep a watch on this option chain, as well as just hold on to FTAI. I like the stock, like the company, like the dividend. So that was my experience this week. Very happy with it. And I'm interested to see if you have comments below for what you're looking at next week. I really want to ask if you've got some plays next week. Please hit me up. Let me know. And if you have any comments about the video, if you enjoyed it, let me know that as well. And if you found this content engaging, please leave a like and subscribe. Thanks, everyone. Talk to you later.